Just imagine this. A former Army Special Forces officer is set up and thrown into prison, and no one knows what's about to happen next. Today's story begins inside an isolated house, where a group of men is busy packaging drugs, getting everything ready for distribution. Then, everything changes in a single, unexpected moment, and the entire operation is thrown into chaos. Out of nowhere, a man named Terry storms inside, grabs their cash, and takes off running. But only moments later, police catch up to him and place him under arrest. As they review his records, they discover that Terry once served in the Army Special Forces. During his service, he earned multiple medals and fought in military operations across Afghanistan, Nigeria, and Iraq. His past tells one story, but the crime he has just committed tells a completely different one. After seeing his file, Captain Harvey calls Terry into his office and asks why a decorated soldier would turn to theft. Terry quietly explains that while the government needs its soldiers, they're taken care of, but once they're out, they're left to fend for themselves. His daughter is seriously ill, and he doesn't even have enough money to pay for her treatment. Sometimes, the hardest battles don't happen on the battlefield. They begin after the uniform comes off. What sounds like a second chance is actually the beginning of an incredibly dangerous mission. After hearing Terry's story, Harvey offers him a deal. He wants to send Terry on a secret mission. Intelligence reports say that prison warden Lucas has been running illegal fight rings inside the prison while also operating a drug trafficking operation. Lucas has strong connections to organized crime, making it nearly impossible for law enforcement to bring him down. The only way to expose the truth is from inside the prison walls. Harvey wants Terry to enter the prison as an inmate and secretly gather evidence against Lucas. If Terry succeeds, every charge against him will be cleared, and the government will cover the full cost of his daughter's medical treatment. Terry accepts the offer. Harvey tells him there will be a hidden phone waiting in his prison cell, which he'll use to send evidence back. Terry says goodbye to his daughter, and the very next day, he's transferred to the prison. After the lieutenant explains the prison rules to all the inmates, each one receives an injection in the neck. From this moment on, every move Terry makes could mean the difference between survival and death. Inside this prison, trust is almost impossible, and every mistake comes with a price. The injection contains a tracking device that allows the prison staff to monitor every inmate. Later, when Terry reaches his cell, he finds the hidden phone Harvey promised beneath the bed. The next day, while he's eating in the cafeteria, an inmate named James deliberately knocks his food onto the floor and tries to force him into a fight. Terry calmly tells him he didn't come there to fight anyone, but refusing to fight only paints an even bigger target on his back. Later, another inmate named Frank approaches Terry and invites him to join his gang, but Terry turns him down. Soon afterward, James and his crew attack him. Terry fights back bravely, but they're beginning to overwhelm him. Just then, another inmate named Bonus steps in and helps Terry. Within moments, the correctional officers rush in, break up the fight, and lock everyone in separate cells. Afterward, Warden Lucas tears into James for starting the fight, before ordering Terry to report to his office. Terry has barely arrived, yet the prison is already pulling him into a deadly game he can't escape. Lucas already knows exactly who Terry is, and he has plans that go far beyond keeping him locked up. Lucas tells Terry about the prison's underground fighting tournament. Since he already knows Terry served in special forces, he assumes Terry is an exceptional fighter and wants him to compete. He tempts Terry with a promise, saying that if he keeps winning his matches, he'll earn an early release and finally be reunited with his daughter. The offer sounds like freedom, but every fight pulls Terry deeper into Lucas's dangerous operation. Lucas gives Terry a fighting uniform and orders Officer Gina to move him into a new cell. Bonus is assigned to the same room, and before long, the two of them become close friends. Later, Terry secretly uses the hidden phone to tell Harvey that illegal fights are being held inside the prison, and gambling is built around them. Bonus also explains the different prison gangs, telling Terry that Fruit has been the undefeated champion of the prison fights, and no one has ever beaten him. That evening, the guards escort Terry to an underground arena where the next fights are about to begin. What looks like a tournament is really a brutal business, where every punch is worth someone else's money. Inside this underground arena, there are no rules, only violence, money, and survival. The inmates fight without any rules, while wealthy spectators watch from outside the cage and place bets from across the country. As soon as the matches begin, Terry secretly records everything on his hidden phone as evidence. Meanwhile, Warden Lucas sits back and enjoys every second of the bloodshed. The opening fight is between two inmates, but they quickly take each other down with ease. Then it's Terry's turn, and his opponent is unlike anyone he's ever faced before. Terry is matched against an inmate named El Vampiro, whose teeth look just like a vampire's. Earlier, Bonus had already told Terry about his weakness, so Terry ends the fight with a single powerful punch. After the match, Fruit walks over to Lucas and demands his release, reminding him of the promise that once he became champion, he'd be set free. Lucas refuses, telling him he has to win one more fight before he'll even consider letting him go. Fruit warns Lucas that if he isn't released after that match, he'll unleash his gang and throw the entire prison into chaos. The deal is falling apart, and the prison is only one fight away from exploding into total violence. As the prison grows more dangerous, Terry realizes the next battle could change everything. By now, Fruit has become one of the strongest men in the prison, and most of the inmates answer to him. 2 days later, a lawyer named Janet comes to visit Terry. She's his military attorney and wants to fight his case to get him released, but Terry is still on his undercover mission, so he refuses her help. Afterward, he heads off to train with Bonus, because his next fight is expected to be far more brutal than the last one. When fight day finally arrives, Terry ends the match before it even has a chance to begin. The moment the fight starts, Terry drops his opponent with one devastating strike. The match is over almost instantly. Later, he quietly returns to his cell and asks Bonus how he ended up in prison. Bonus explains that someone tried to assault his sister, and in a fit of rage, he killed the man responsible. That's why he was sentenced to prison. Terry tells Bonus that he knows he's not a bad person. Behind every inmate is a story, and Terry is beginning to see that not everyone in this prison belongs here. Terry's strength is becoming impossible to ignore, and now the other inmates see him as their biggest threat. One day, 2 inmates suddenly ambush Terry and attack him with knives. Officer Gina rushes in to save him, but during the struggle, one of the inmates accidentally stabs her before escaping. Terry immediately carries Gina to the medical unit, where her life is saved. Saving Gina doesn't just earn Terry respect, it also keeps Lucas from losing everything. Later, Lucas thanks Terry for saving Gina, knowing that if she had died, his career would have been over. Terry then tells Lucas that he wants to fight Fruit as soon as possible, so he can earn his release. Lucas already knows that Fruit's gang was behind the attack on Terry, so he orders his guards to execute the inmates responsible for breaking prison rules. Furious over the deaths of his men, Fruit challenges Terry to a fight, but Terry ignores him and continues training. Afterward, Terry secretly messages Harvey, telling him that he'll soon be facing the prison's undefeated champion. The championship fight is finally set, and everyone knows only one man will walk away on top. The biggest fight in the prison is finally here, and the entire country is watching the outcome. Lucas officially announces the championship fight between Terry and Fruit. As the match begins, bettors from across the country start placing wagers on their favorite fighter. At first, both men are evenly matched, but before long, Terry overwhelms Fruit with a relentless series of devastating attacks. Victory makes Terry the new champion, but the real danger is only beginning. After the fight, Terry sends Harvey video evidence from the match, but no reply ever comes. Meanwhile, the inmates begin treating Terry like a hero. Now that he's the new champion, Lucas offers him a position of power, asking him to help control the prison population. Terry refuses without hesitation. Lucas then takes Terry to his secret operation, where drugs are manufactured and distributed around the world. He wants Terry to join the business, but Terry tells him he'll think about it. What Terry sees behind those hidden doors changes everything, and nothing is what it seemed anymore. One shocking discovery turns Terry's entire mission upside down and exposes the real mastermind behind it all. Before leaving, Terry secretly steals a small amount of the drugs as evidence. Later, Lucas brings him to Superintendent Harvey, where Terry discovers the truth. Lucas and Harvey have been working together all along. They knew Terry was an elite fighter, so they manipulated him into entering the prison for their own profit. His fights have already earned them millions of dollars, and now they plan to match him against champions from other prisons. The mission was never about justice. Terry has been used from the very beginning. Terry is completely stunned. Lucas and Harvey force him to join their operation, but he refuses. They then threaten to kill Bonus if Terry doesn't cooperate, leaving him with no choice but to agree. Back in his cell, Terry and Bonus decide they'll expose Lucas and Harvey to the world. Terry secretly contacts his attorney, Janet, and quietly hands her the flash drive containing all the evidence against Lucas. The evidence is finally out, and the countdown to exposing the entire operation has begun. Terry isn't fighting alone anymore. Now the entire prison is ready to rise against Lucas. He also wins the support of the other inmates, who are all tired of Lucas's brutal rule. Soon afterward, the warden from another prison arrives with his champion, Shaka, and wagers $1 million on a fight between Shaka and Terry. Lucas accepts the bet, and before long, the match begins. During the fight, Terry throws the stolen drug powder into Shaka's eyes, blinding him long enough to take complete control and beat him badly. One signal is all it takes, and the entire prison erupts into total chaos. Terry gives the other inmates the signal, and they begin destroying the prison. There are simply too many inmates for the correctional officers to stop, and one by one, the guards are overwhelmed. At the same time, the police arrive because Janet has already turned over the evidence exposing Lucas and Harvey's criminal operation. Lucas tries to escape, but Terry blocks his path, and the two launch into a brutal fight. Lucas fires multiple shots at Terry, but Terry is wearing the bulletproof suit Lucas had given him, so the bullets have no effect. Lucas's empire is collapsing, and there's nowhere left for him to run. Just when Lucas thinks he can still escape, the law finally catches up with him. The police arrest Lucas, and Janet tells them that Terry gathered all of the evidence that exposed the entire operation. Because of Terry's courage, the massive criminal network is finally brought down. The government clears his record and agrees to cover the full cost of his daughter's medical treatment. After everything he's survived, Terry finally earns the freedom he fought so hard for. As Terry walks out of the prison, every inmate applauds him. Later, when his daughter is discharged from the hospital, he hugs her tightly and takes her home. Lucas and Harvey are both sentenced to life in prison, and now all they have left is a lifetime to regret everything they did. In the end, the man they tried to destroy becomes the one who brings their entire empire crashing down. Some people make it out alive, but the hardest prison is the one they carry inside forever. If stories like this stay with you, subscribe to RAFSAT Cord, because some endings never really end.